the arrows coming from both sides.
Get black one.
It's, all right, I think that's great. I think that would be great. I mean, there's nothing that says.
I would love to.
It says,
you know?
there's nothing that says it has to be board members anyway. So, all right. Okay, anything else?
No.
All right, excellent. All right.
Well,
Yes.
did you want to discuss is it appropriate to discuss another working meeting for that now?
We can, or I was just gonna wait till agenda number 12.
So why don't we do it as agenda item 12 and do them at the same time? Schedule 2 next meetings, well, the ICS and possibly LOC and.
Well, we already scheduled that one.
LOC.
Oh, the LOC was
LOC's done. 5:30, July 12th.
July 12, okay? All right, it's because it's just before our meeting.
Very good.
Very good, I'm waking up here. All right, agenda item 7, light update, Andy?
Road, 9 roads, always on the top of our agenda. We got notification that they are going to start removing asbestos in there. That is this week or next week. I think it's either late this week or early next week. Thereafter, I expect that the demolition will move forward quickly. Obviously, they have to pull the permit and do the disconnects. That'll probably take a week to 2, and you will then see equipment in there hacking at the building. 80 Hamilton, we now own it. We put an asbestos inspector in there yesterday, the day before yesterday, and as soon as we get his report back, I have asked Mr. Burlingame to begin a invitation for bids. So as soon as we get the asbestos report back on that, we'll attach that as part of the addendum, and we'll have a bid out for 80 Hamilton to come down. I have spoken to a gentleman who flipped houses and went through a bunch of pictures with him on it, and he confirmed with me that it's probably not worth saving with the amount of damage that's inside that building. I have a date with the Attorney General's office. We have sent a letter to the owners of 33 Oliver under 105 CMR 400, 100. We are allowed to enter any place,
Union Street.
33 Union.
You
We
said
are allowed to
Oliver.
enter, I'm sorry,
Okay, that's why it's.
I wrote Oliver
Yeah.
too.
Union Street.
Union. We are allowed to enter any place for purposes of protecting public health, doing an inspection. There is a caveat with that. If we are told, go away, we have to go through a warrant process. So I sent a letter to the owner informing him that we are going to enter. I will be entering with a gentleman who's going to board it for us and the Attorney General to determine the conditions inside. And if we cannot get any kind of response from the owner, that one will go to a receivership program. I think it's a good candidate. It's a 4-family, and it seems to be in half-decent shape.
So you're entering this, so basically, you're knocking on the door and saying, I want to enter, I want to look at this?
We are not going to break down any doors,
I understand that.
but if we find an open door, we're going to knock on that door, and with no response, we're going to walk in. The code is very specific that unless we are denied entrance, I don't even have to inform the guy. However, I took the extra step and informed him to give him the opportunity to say, no, you're not entering my building. In order to do that, he needs to contact me, in which case I'm going to say, you have an order to board and secure it. Get it boarded and secured now, because otherwise we have the right to do it. So as of right now, my intent is to enter, check for persons or animals inside the building so that we don't board them inside. While we are checking for them, anything in plain view to us becomes an object that we can write down. So we will get a list of violations on all accessible apartments,
Pictures and all that.
and we will do that. We will enter that into the courts as standard for a receivership on that building. It's a 4-family, and I think it's in pretty decent shape. It's a good candidate. 361 Worcester Street, our favorite one out there with the cars.
Has done nothing.
Same day,
Nothing.
I am taking the Attorney General out there to look at that one and see if she will clean it for us, or she will name a receiver to clean it for us. It's not going to be a fast process, but at least it will be a finite process. So we'll get a receiver on that one. That's a 2-family, also a good candidate for a receivership.
House is secure.
So we will go out there, show her the conditions that we cited, show her the file that I have on it, and his lack of
What
response.
with all the cars?
No, I just didn't know when. When was it?
Tuesday. And I had a case on yesterday at 215 Hamilton Street to name a receiver. Unfortunately, I had a death in the family, so I could not make that. The Attorney General will not bring the case without my presence, so that is now continued to the 27th. We have spoken to the bank on that one, and the bank said, yeah, give us a chance to get in there. We gave them a chance, they have got it.
What street address is this?
That is 215 Hamilton, that is the blue building right across from the coffee shop.
Got it.
So the new date to name the receiver on that one is June 27th. In Worcester, we'll have court in Worcester to name a receiver on that one. I expect the bank is gonna be there, so they will be up to send to it. A lot of times these receiverships go unopposed because they're abandoned properties. This one, the bank has shown an interest, but they haven't exercised that interest. We gave them a chance, and I'm gonna tell the Attorney General, let's go forward with it.
Okay.
Other properties of interest at all.
Well, I did ask you about that 49 Coombe Street.
What is, I'll have to look at that, I wasn't even aware there was a potential for vacancy there. Judging by the pictures you showed me, it looks in decent shape, I don't know if we got
Yeah, it's
blight,
just
but
kind
we
of-
should be able to get the property clean.
It's just kind of weird because there was a lot of furniture out there last week and the windows are open, but it doesn't look like anybody's really living there. And then there was, it's kind of, it's just taken kind of a strange appearance to it as to whether or not there's actually anybody living there.
I will stop
A
there
lot of mail.
every morning when I come into work, I do a drive about on the town and I stop at specific, and I will add that to my drive about tomorrow morning.
Just say, is that why
I didn't see
the town truck was outside mine the other day?
Okay.
I assure you, I don't do it with the town vehicle, I do it on my way in.
He does it on the way in.
That way, nobody will know.
He doesn't dare come in my neighborhood. And,
All set, Amy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do have a question.
Question?
Yes.
Yeah.
9 Rose, lien. Is that, you're putting a lien on that house,
I
right?
will,
Because
There's
it's
a-
torn down, right?
there's a process for anytime we do any work. 33 Union Street, the same thing.
Yep.
We're going to board it. It's going to cost us, I think we got a bid of $450 to board it and clean the property. I think it's $450, right?
9 rows?
No, 33 all along.
Union.
33 Union. The other
What is
one.
that all? I don't know anything about.
I had a case on Oliver, he just finished it. It was a blight case, Phil,
Oh my
he just
goodness, what
cleaned
is
it
that
up.
all over?
So anyhow, anytime we do work on a property, there's an outline under chapter 139 on how we go about, we have to put a demand to the owner for the cost, and when he fails to pay, we go through a lien process. And there's all kinds of notifications, but it's spelled out in 139.
Does this include admin costs that you can put a lien on the property? You have done a lot of admin work for 33 Union, and if he decides to board it up himself,
Yeah, so that,
can the admin costs still be attributed to getting him to clean up his mess?
No, I can put legal costs, I can put the actual physical cost of the fix.
Of
and I can-
parts and pieces and labor to do that?
And I can put the filing fee on that. I do not believe,
But
I
you
could talk to the
can't-
lawyer, because if
Yeah,
I can
ask,
do admin
please
costs.
ask the lawyer if there was an admin fee for doing all this paperwork and time spent,
If I can finish,
okay?
if the person boards it, no matter how much effort I put into making him board it, he boarded it. There will be no lien, there will be no demand. So if I put a lot of effort into it, and he ends up doing it, like 361 Worcester Street, if he ends up cleaning it tomorrow, there's no lien for me to put on it because there was no action taken by the town. But I will ask the lawyer,
Because,
if we actually do the work, can I add my costs? I don't
Right.
think so, because I think that's the cost of doing business. I think that's an
Okay.
expectation on me as part of
if
my
we
job.
if we could check, because
I'll look into that.
admin cost is a taxpayer cost.
and just a caveat, 9 Rose, when you and Eric went out there to clean that guy's property, that lives at 314, I believe it is, Hamilton. So you cleaned his property and this guy's sitting in his house. Cost the
That's
town,
above and
taxpayers
beyond.
money just for that.
That's above and beyond an admin.
Yeah,
Had I hired a contractor to do it,
I just
It would
asked.
have been.
it was in my daily, the town pays me if you.
All right, well, we've got a question that Roland's, so once we get that answered, I think we'll be all set? Everyone else all set? Okay, curbside update.
The only thing I want to update on curbside is the trash contract, curbside trash contract has been It's been announced to the town, and this is all public information now, it's been announced to the town that their intention is to cease continuance of the curbside pickup. We went into the court on Tuesday and on requesting a temporary restraining order to prevent them to restrain them from stopping picking up trash until the case can be resolved. Both sides presented, and it is currently, the judge is taking it under advisement. So, as soon as I hear back from that decision, if it is not going to be a part of future negotiations, then I will let the board know what the results were. If it is going to be a part of future legal issues, obviously, it would have to be executive session.
When are they looking at starting? 7? That's it?
When the landfill
That's
goes,
it?
so if the landfill goes into July of next year, that's when they'll. They have an argument. I'm sure if I were on that side of the table, I would see it as a valid argument. You know.
All right, well, we're not gonna solve that problem now, but the reason this is here is there anything that we can get in front of right now that we should we
Biggest
start looking?
issue.
Or is
biggest
this
issue
the town needs to take the first step on this?
I think whether trash stops in December or trash stops in 2027, somebody has to decide what program is going to replace trash. Having said that, it's not our contract. We administer the contract, but it's the town manager's contract. And I might have been premature in asking this board to consider it prior. I think the council needs to give us direction if they want us to take part in it. It's their contract it's ours to administer, theirs to hold.
Yep.
I would wait for direction
I feel
from
the
the
same.
council.
We enforce the, whatever is going. All right, any questions, curbside? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to new business. Right? I don't believe we have any new business, right? Anyone else? All right. Old business, chairman's announcements. You know, we're heading into reorganization, and it's going to be a terrible loss to be losing you, Dave. So, my responsibilities, was hoping that they would change, that I could stop being president of the union. It's quite busy these days. So anyway, I will not be throwing my hat in to be chairman of the board. I think this board has ample skills and talent to have somebody else be the chair. So everyone should be thinking about that. The question here is, do we wait until we get a full board before we vote, you know, we reorganize, or do we reorganize our first meeting in July, which would be our next meeting?
I would argue that anytime a board is, or a member is appointed or reappointed, and it must be appointments that are up.
Andy just, or,
You just
Tony
got reappointed.
So Tony
He was the one, yeah, so
He was
he's,
the
So
one
I
year.
would say the first meeting after July, no matter what the membership makeup is.
That's the way that's why I
discussed that a couple years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And actually, yes,
because
the
they
board voted,
staggered them.
We voted.
regardless of anything, we would reorg every first meeting in July.
Because
I'm sorry.
because the council staggered us, so someone should be newly appointed every year.
we don't know how long it's gonna take to get another person appointed.
True. I mean, I just put it out there
Yeah.
as a, you know, whether we.
Dave will be all over that.
I got fillers out.
Okay.
I do.
So, that's it. So I just thought people should be aware of that before the meeting rather than at the meeting. Health director.
Can I ask that 10 and 11 be switched?
10 and 11 be switched. Board members' announcements.
Please.
Okay. Is there, do you have a reason or? Okay. All right, so with no objection, is anyone opposed to that?
No.
With no no objection, we'll go to agenda item 11, board members' announcements. Let's start with Tony.
No announcement, but a question.
Okay, that's good.
When do we, I know I'm just talking about recycling and I'm on the kick at home about recycling. And I know you're working with students and stuff, but at what point do we kind of revisit and kind of re-energize, re-inform the community about recycling? Or is it even necessary, which I think it is?
Definitely necessary for the first, I've said it at several meetings now, for the first time in history, quality beats quantity. We need to get on this. Unfortunately, with the pending closing of the landfill, we lose a recycling coordinator, who I think his skill set better fits where we're gonna move to as a housing inspector rather than recycling coordinator. But we have to reshuffle the office a little bit and figure out who's gonna pick up the duties of the recycling coordinator. Now, through the banned item fines, we have a certain amount of money that I think we can carry a recycling coordinator contractor, if we want to go that route, with somebody who will develop programs for us. I did mention to Paul Degnan, who is the Auburn manager of the Auburn MRF, that I'd like to go down there at some point and do a video on how crappy our recycling really is and try to get that online and stuff. So I haven't dropped that. I was hoping that Dave, through your video guys,
We've been
that we
trying to
could
work
coordinate
with them.
something.
That's their final project in my class, is a video. So it's due Wednesday.
So that would be very difficult to pull together by Wednesday, so that one's out the window.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a couple of people who want to play for a week or two over the summer.
Yeah.
You know, if not, then I will figure out something, we'll call them in. And
I have plenty of students that would love to do that. Mainly not the environmental kids, the more of the kids that showed up for the zombie apocalypse, those kids.
if they are truly interested, I can combine it with a tour of that facility up there.
That's-
I'm sure Paul loves to brag about that facility. It's a great facility, and I will combine it with a tour
I
of that if he's willing to have students out there.
I would love that because there's a number of kids that would be very, very interested in
But
that.
I would love to sit with them and talk to them about what we want to accomplish in this video and just let them go at it.
Yeah.
You know, make a half-hour video, they shave down, they edit down to 10 minutes, you know, and we can show it on, we can get it on our webpage, we can get it on the
Yeah.
cable station. I'm sure everybody here has a secret way to get it even more advertising on it.
Yeah.
But that would be my starting plan.
Restarting, and there's a lot of, I would imagine there's a lot of information already out there that
There
It's a
is-
lot of videos, yeah.
There's a
I
lot,
wanted to just grab one, but I don't know.
But even just, we're talking like, videos, also written material, online material, just acceptable. I know we talked about plastics and the different types of plastic, and I'm sitting there going, oh, jeez.
there's, we do have a certain amount of money that has to be dedicated to recycling. My initial intent was to use that money to see how long I could keep the curbside monitor, the curbside, not the recycling guy, the curbside trash monitor. However, I would not mind cutting into that, bringing on a contractor to do just our recycling, to develop a good recycling program, somebody who does this stuff. Again, the gentleman that I have doing it, I think is going to be better set for his new position. I don't think his heart was really in recycling, it was in public health and prevention. So, if the board wants to go that route, we'll look into how much finances we have in available accounts. There's 2 or 3 accounts that money has to be dedicated to recycling and trash reduction. And I would not be averse to looking at a 1-year contract or maybe a part-timer for 25 grand, 30 grand.
All set? Dave?
The light properties online. When are we gonna be able to do this?
I just sat down with Casey and remember I said we have 10 properties we identified. I told them, last time I said, give me a list of what's wrong with these properties so we can essentially get it on that. I have a database now that we have the properties, the owners, the conditions of concern, and what our first steps are. We outlined our first steps on these 10 properties today. So I will Gee, how long can I put him off before he's gone? I will,
I'm gonna be asking this every time. We're talking about
We're
budgets.
we're gonna invite you back.
Yeah, I really want, I mean,
let
we've
me
been
get
working
you
hard
in-
on it,
let
you
me
guys
get
have
you in,
too.
we'll develop this page and you and I will figure out how to get it out.
So
Come on, I'll have you in and we'll sit down and make it happen in front of you. Because that's, I need to be pulled kicking and screaming.
I know.
I need to be pulled away from, what I'm doing over here. Make me sit down and do it.
I would just like to see
So
it.
that's.
I would like to just right now, so let's put that on the agenda for the next meeting, so at least that when we're making the agenda, that we'll have at least an update, even if that is like,
Maybe I'll come in for citizens forum.
so if we can get that on the agenda, so we will get an update at that.
Just two more things was, I'll be submitting my resignation in next week probably, and for the 30th. I still want to do ICS, and I just want to say thank you guys. Seriously, it's been a great ride. I didn't know how this was going to turn out, and it went from 4 people and one that wasn't here sometimes, and that moved along, and it's such a great team, and even though we disagree and we get upset, even with motions of, just like this evening, we can still laugh at each other and smile and not hold it as a grudge. So I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for your friendship.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are going to be missed greatly.
We're just not
You're gonna
letting
miss
them
us.
go.
You'll miss
You
us.
As long as Sid keeps holding my truck hostage over there, I
You
see
can't-
your wife all the
You
time.
can't miss somebody we don't want to go.
Yeah, that's true. Can we not accept his resignation? Is that possible?
That would
I
be-
guess we can appeal the vote.
We can appeal. I don't know.
We just
Not
assigned,
Oh.
we
really
just,
a
oh
vote,
Jesus.
Huh?
You pulled
We just
in like
assigned
double
him.
everybody else, so it's not exactly. What do
We
we
just
do?
assigned him other tasks.
All right, I don't want to be here till midnight, so that,
Just 2 things.
okay?
No, it's not.
2 is, let's
Well,
do
first,
short
I just
thing.
want to say congratulations again to Dave. We are going to miss you. Kind of sad. You're leaving.
Tracy just left crying.
Yeah, I'm sure she
Emotional.
has.
It's hard.
Wait, Let's change that. It's
Yeah,
called a
right.
dump. There's somebody running here yelling at me.
And the other thing is, I just wanted to double check with you about the donation boxes because we are past the 60 days.
Yep.
And I wanted an update on the registration and such on our regulations.
That was one of the reasons I wanted to switch order, because I knew that that might be of interest, and I wanted to give opportunity for the
Right?
for the number. We have sent out an initial notice to every box except for the new one on Worcester Street.
The shed.
Mhm.
There's 8 of them, I believe, and 5 out of the 8 have responded to us. They don't have the stickers yet. Our fault. We are waiting for Center of Hope to deliver those stickers to us. So as soon as we get them, we'll get those stickers out, and every one of them will have a little square Board of Health sticker on it.
But everything else,
The three-
the regulation is complied with.
The new one, let's go straight to the new one. We issued a notice of the requirements late last week,
This Worcester Street?
the Worcester Street
Yeah,
one.
the shed.
She called today and asked what was necessary to get everything right. And I said, well, could you read the down letter? And we sent it. So basically, she just wanted qualification of what she has to do. I expect her in tomorrow or Monday at the latest. If not, we will address an order to her. I'm saying her because it was a girl who called me, it could be him. The other 3 are non-compliant as of right now. We initially sent a notice of the requirements. We will now send out an order that they comply with the requirements, and we will put a drop dead date in which we will either start writing tickets, or we will post the boxes and say we are going to take the boxes. The orders will go out. They won't go out tomorrow. They'll probably be going out early next week for the remaining 3.
Where are those 3?
So, where
There's
are
one
those?
on Worcester Street at the gas station,
Oh, that's the one in the
The one
middle,
that's on-
before Coop School,
Yeah.
okay?
and
That's
that
right.
one, there is a question whether those trucks, first off, First of
That's
all,
a
whether that's
questionable whether
a
that's
vacant
empty
lot
lot.
or if that lot is part of the adjoining lot.
Right.
If it's not part of the adjoining lot, then that box is in violation because it's a primary use on a vacant lot. And we'll have to move it to the other lot. The one on Thomas's Variety,
That
That's
one's
been
gone.
gone.
That's gone.
they removed it as soon as we sent them the notice. They
Yeah.
said, why are you, I'm not getting paid for this, why, you know.
Right.
Where are the other two?
That was a plan of eight, I think, anyway, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Those
a,
are
Yes.
gone, those are gone.
CVS is a Planet 8.
Planet 8, Austin Liquors is a Planet 8.
those two, those were those greenish colored boxes, right?
No, there's,
Planet 8 of white, I believe.
there's,
White, actually, they're almost any color. I think
there's a green one and a white one that are over by Copper Snips down,
who?
Where's that?
Elm. If you take Elm straight back,
Oh, the fork in the road?
yeah, at the fork in the road. Those two are always, those are always cleaned up though.
Right past the A1 mark,
By the, if you keep going past it,
the hairdresser.
Oh, where Everett Street comes out.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are always clean.
those are always
Those
clean.
are always
I,
clean.
in fact, I didn't even notice those two for the longest time.
I didn't notice it.
So you just said it.
But I did notice the other, I did notice a while back, like one of them is green and one of them is white, which was kind of weird because all
So
the other
those
ones
must
are.
be the other two.
All right, let's move.
So they're already not compliant.
Yeah.
And so what condition are you going to put on the letter as being not compliant? Like how much time do you plan on giving them because they're already not compliant?
Tell me. I'm gonna write in one. This is gonna be the first order we issue. What does the board wish?
What's the regulations
A
say?
week, 2 weeks, a year and a half?
Well, no, I mean, they're already not compliant. It's been 60 days and they're already not
So
compliant.
that's the first one.
So they're not
As of
registered.
July 11th, I believe, June 11th, they had to be compliant with the laws. They are now
So-
in violation, so I can issue
So
an
they're
order.
in
I'm just
violation
asking,
completely.
did we have any time period in the regulation?
Yes, 60 days,
60 days.
June 11th.
That's the,
No, I'm saying for the first violation, did they have any procedures in there for what, how much you give them?
On a fine.
I don't think so because we
didn't
didn't
remember.
anticipate anybody not
There
being
is-
compliant for.
There is a schedule
I
of
thought so.
violations.
Right, but not for
However,
not
Up to
registering them.
resolve.
So just,
Yeah.
just make it a month. So at July 11th,
So we're gonna give them another month?
no, that's when they start, they just let them know that they are going to be fined starting July 11th.
No, how about they get 1 week to,
no, I don't think, you're right. You know what, you're right.
they're already,
There is no,
not
they're already
compliant.
not compliant, so that's strike one.
They've had 60 days, there should just be a fine. It should
Yeah,
not
it should
even
be a fine,
be.
there's no order.
So just issue the fine.
It should just be a fine because
And
they're
if they
just
want to
not
argue it, let
compliant.
them come, let them come
Exactly.
to the board.
Yeah, 2
Exactly.
months.
Issue the first penalty.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, because they've had their 60 days.
They've had
60
60,
days
they
without
had
notice. They
60
have
days
not
with
been.
no notice, then they're just not
Right.
compliant, that's strike one.
I can't remember, I got.
if they want to appeal it, then let them, tell them they can come to the board with the right
No, you're right.
Because if we send them a letter and give them another week or another month,
Right, they're gonna
what's the
just.
point? Because we've already
Right,
given
they can
them
come in
2
here.
months.
I will
Maybe
review the
something
regulation,
happens.
whatever the first violation is.
Yeah, they're
I
all
will
violated.
issue the first violation.
And if you can ask them to, by all means, you can appeal to the board.
There will be a appeal process with it. There's always an appeal
By
process.
all means, if you
Any
want to
enforcement
appeal
we
it.
do, we allow an appeal process.
I know, but I just want to see them if they don't want to pay. It's just like-
Because I mean, we
Well,
spent way too
explain to
much
us why.
time doing these regulations and to already have people just completely disregard, then that's ridiculous.
All right, move on. I think we're all set there. You all set back?
I am, thank you.
Ron?
Good.
Good. All right, let's go
Just came
back.
back from vacation, that's all.
He's still trying to get catch up with the right time zone.
Let's go. Let's do agenda item 10, health director.
Right, two reasons I asked to switch positions is one, I knew Miss Beth was going to mention donation boxes. I wanted to give her the opportunity to bring it up as she wanted it presented. Second off, I didn't want to take Dave's thunder. I wanted to congratulate Dave Adams for his win at the election. I don't understand why somebody would voluntarily go to the farm team when they're already on the pro team. However,
Maybe we want to.
we have to respect his,
Some people just want to go to the dark side.
you know, it's possible he doesn't think that he has the experience necessary to serve on this board, so he needs to get that somewhere. So,
still be
No.
taped. That's still
Wow.
be taped.
Oh,
There's a budget coming up. When's your contract?
I will definitely miss,
And the
I
love.
will definitely miss Dave here, but I think that he
I'll
can
come by and
do
visit
things
you.
that,
Trust me.
that scares the heck out of
David
me.
is polite.
Yeah, I'm polite, yeah, I know.
This board, just, I'm putting this in your minds, we have to start thinking about the landfill is closing in December. We get certain benefits from this landfill, including a household hazardous waste day 4 times a year. I do not imagine that this town will be able to replace 4 times a year, but if we do not replace at least once a year, we will be facing
A lot of problems.
concerns. So I think we need to figure out how we can fund an annual hazardous waste day after we lose the benefit of the partnership with the landfill. I
That's
just
our
wanna put it-
fees.
If we actually ticketed
If we
people and
ticketed-
collected fees, then, we'd be able to fund things.
The problem was in
You
that,
did.
Tickets.
very, very carefully, 30B, you can only use fees charged for that purpose. It's a 30B is a
It's
public
a joke,
qualification.
Andy, relax.
I know, I know it was a joke, but I've tried it in the past, and they're like, no, you can't. I'm like, oh, come on. And that's it.
Excellent.
I feel inadequate.
And that's
As you
it.
should.
All that drama for that?
I was ready, I look at all this writing, I'm like, oh.
Agenda item number 12, schedule next meeting. We have a July 12 for
July 12,
LOC
6:30
and a 6:30 with the LOC at 5:30,
Yes,
5:30. Do we,
In the veterans room.
and the veteran rooms, and we
Maybe.
will not,
That'll
We're
teach
not
us.
giving
we're
it
not
up.
getting bumped.
We're not giving it up next.
Maritza asked very nicely, and so.
did.
Now,
so-
That was
since you
the
mentioned
problem.
next meeting, we have to discuss, you wanted to
Working
put it off for the working meeting for ICS.
So, yeah, and so let's come up with a date for the ICS, and it's usually like,
That won't be the week before, like that first week of July.
you won't be here, so that's a good week to do it.